Evening all, and welcome back to Kerbalism. Now, I need to start this episode off with a small confession that I have in fact had to revert a save back just a little tiny bit. The eagle-eyed of you at the end of the last episode would have probably noticed a warning I got from Kerbalism telling me that Jenlan was getting dehydrated. And a few seconds after the end of that, she died from dehydration. And the reason behind that is because I had modified, as I'd stated in the episode, the profile so that food, as you can see here, now ticks down. It comes down like a normal resource and actually counts down, so you get a timer. You get 4 days and 5 days timer that ticks down. But I hadn't changed the way the generation works, so when a Kerbal stepped out of a pod that had no food on it or water on it, they'd last about 5-6 seconds and die. Which is not ideal, obviously. So I reverted that save back a little tiny bit, re-landed that plane, or re-crashed that plane, and wasn't as bad a crash this time, but I did crash it. And obviously saved her life because that was just a bug. The bug is fixed now. You will see here if I EVA Jeb here now, he's not dying after a few minutes. In fact, he will last a whole day without water and 3 days without food, which I thought was a pretty good balance. So you can go on EVA with them for a while and not worry about things going terribly wrong. That just sort of worked. So yes, that was that. Just thought I'd mention that straight off there. So now obviously that's already been fixed before I put the last episode up, so don't worry if you've downloaded the version. It's already done, already fixed. So let's get on with this episode, shall we? And we'll start this episode off by completing the 2 contracts that we had left over from the last episode. Firstly, putting a brand new satellite in a polar orbit around Kerbin. And our second contract to complete is to rendezvous and dock 2 vessels in orbit around station. Docked 2 vessels on or around Kerbin. I didn't read that, but yeah, we're going to do it in orbit because I thought, why don't we start a space station? This will be the very first point to it. Bring the camera up here. It is just a probe with some solar panels, some batteries, and lots of docking ports. So, yeah, that's going to be the start of a very, very basic space station. But our station isn't really of any use at the moment. It does need something on it, and that's where this comes in. This is being odd shadows once again. It's shadowing over everything apart from the fairing for some reason. But yes, in this fairing we have something you can't see because it's too small. But yes, we have a little tug and some supplies. It's got food, water, and lots of oxygen. So prepared for when we send Kerbals up to this brand new station. But first we need to dock with it. I need to remember how to do this. Let's fast forward time here. And I think I want to launch when it's at about 45 degrees, I believe. So you can see here on the nav ball, we've got 270 just here and the marker. So when the target marker is at about 45 degrees, which would be 270, would be there. We launch. And hopefully we'll get this correct. It's not an exact science to launching onto a station this way. It is an exact science to launch it onto a station, but isn't that weird? Post-apocalyptic world. More Kerbin after the nuclear fallout Kerbin. Yes. Yeah. You need to figure out like the weight of the vehicle, the thrust of the vehicle, everything like that basically before you figure out when to launch to get to the station. I'm generally making it up. 45 degrees seems like a good idea. Seems like a good number to start with. But the ideal way would be to pick something like that, like 45 degrees there, launch the craft, and if you miss it, you know to launch earlier or later. Yeah. Okay, so it looks as if I fired too late. I'm going to meet it here and it's going to be there. Not a bad thing though, we can obviously play catch up, we can drop orbit down. That's why I put the station up at 90 kilometers rather than doing it closer. it allows me to have a lower orbit, which means I will travel faster and catch up. So that's not really a problem. I now know that I need to launch, say, well, a bit earlier. But again, it does depend on the weight and the thrust of the vehicle that you are sending up. So, yeah, it's not a... There are calculations for it. I don't know what they are. I just like making it up as I go. That just seems to make more sense and feels a bit more fun. Because when you make it up as you go, you get things wrong quite often. And that leads to all sorts of exciting things. Okay, so I put myself in an orbit of 89 and 71. And on my second pass, that'd be my first insect, but on my second pass, I will actually only be 28 kilometers away from the target, which is pretty damn good considering I am on entirely the wrong inclination. I wonder if that's actually getting me further away by doing that. So what I need to do is obviously get my inclination correct. Would mean going over here and bringing myself back up. That's not far enough. There we go. And then I can play with these maneuver nodes a little bit to see if I can get a closer encounter. See here, if I was to do something like this, that would put my encounter at 17, 16, 12, 8. 3 kilometers. There we go. Are we getting closer than that? Oh. 3.6. Oh, it's going up again. 3.7. There we go. That's close enough for me. So all we need to do is that maneuver in 12 minutes and then go around again. And everything will hopefully be awesome. I do actually need some power as well on this. So I suppose I should ditch the fairing. And there you are. You can see our supply container at the bottom and our little tug on top. So I'll have to send the one tug up and that can go backwards and forwards doing things. I will need a better supply of monopropellant though, because I've only got these little round tanks. And they're not ideal. They don't hold a lot. But, well, for the minute I've got to deal with what I've got. And after some very, very slow manoeuvres, we are finally here. This is a bit unwieldy because, well, it's full of fuel, and once again I didn't put a reaction wheel on it. I did on that one, but I didn't on here. We're just on the probe. So, yeah, things are a bit slow. Right. So, I need to slow my speed down relative to my target. It's much easier said than done. You know, I'm actually thinking I want to deorbit this. Then, or do I? Because if I deorbit that, we'll be going very slow for this. I don't think that's got the monopropellant in it to do that. So, no, maybe we won't. Maybe we won't. Maybe we should just leave this up here, floating around. Possibly collect it at some point. But, yep, it's going to become another piece of space debris. So, goodbye. Goodbye. Here we are. Okay. Right. So let's turn ourselves around. We are still heavy, not as heavy, thankfully. So things are good. What I want to do is move towards the target. Involve me pointing roughly at the target. Making sure that things are steady first, and then using the RCS very, very sparingly because we don't have a great deal. So let's okay. Well, that seemed pretty good to me. Probably want to go over there a little bit more. And fire again. using the H key to fire forwards using RCS. The RCS controls are basically I, J, K and L for up, down, left, right, and then H and N for forward and backwards. So very easy controls. I would normally change a rover over to be an I, J, K and L as well. So you can use the WSD key for SAS, and the rover controls are separate, so makes controlling life a little bit easier. Obviously this is not a rover, this is in space. Okay, let's kill our relevant speed again. Point prograde based on the target, that is, and then use the N key to slow ourselves down. So, okay. Now I'm turning the RCS off when I'm turning left and right, because all of my RCS is up here. My RCS thrusters are up here, which means that if I try and turn using RCS, the thing wobbles and will waste a lot of fuel. So don't want to do that. I want to turn, get my ship pointing the right way, then turn the RCS on just to maneuver forward or backwards. And that's basically it, really. So let's accelerate time again. And okie dokie. Right. So I want to target that there, and I will control from this one here. Okay. So first thing to do is stop. Stop. Of course, now I'm controlling from the other end. That means that my controls are reversed, which is fantastic because I get confused by these controls over and over. Any of you that have seen my previous series will know that I really get confused when it comes to what's up, down, left or right in space, which I think is fair enough because, well, realistically, what is up and down in space? That's where things are. This is what I'm talking about. If I try and maneuver up, down, left or right, it forces the craft to do all sorts of odd things. So yeah, right. We actually want to go that way, I think. A little bit. And I want to turn that away to line myself up. Not really concerned about the rotation. Not right now. Oh dear. Yeah, having the RCS on one end and not on the other is a little confusing, but these do have some really ridiculously powerful magnets in them. I hope they do. They used to. So I'm hoping they do again. So we'll turn the SAS off. We'll let it drift towards each other. There you go. Mega powerful magnets kick in. Wobbles about a bit. And it docks. And that is another contract complete. Awesome. And that is the first start to our station. We have a fuel tank at the bottom here. I should disable this engine, just so I don't screw something up there. Yep, we've got that there. We've also got this engine here. If we ever want to move the station, that was I honestly expected that to use more fuel than it did. It now has on board as well. It's not actually going to give me numbers. Yep, so we'll go here. What do we got? We've got 949 food and 291 water and 233 oxygen. So yes, and we have a little tug, so we can just send up these pods instead and just have the tug go out and grab them and come back in. That didn't use that much fuel, which is good, but I do need to actually unlock the science center a bit because I really need a fuel tank that can contain oxidizer. So let's go and have a look at that, shall we? Our 1.36 million is going to drop down by 676,000. But about half our money gone there. But does mean we can unlock a new tier of science. In fact, we can go right up to. We're going to do the next 2 tiers of science. What does that give us? We get new engines. Ooh, lots of new engines I've never seen before. These are obviously part of the Making History expansion. Liquid fuel things, little tiny maneuvering engines. There we go. These are the ones I want. These are the ones. Oh, excuse me. These are the ones I want. So let's research that, and I will unlock all of those. That's a lot of money, but all of them will be useful. Fuel tanks, more fuel tanks, and the connector, which is another very useful thing. So let's unlock all those. Let's see what else we can do. We can do one more, I think. That's obviously for rocket parts. Maybe I could add some rocket parts to our station up there and get us doing some remote building. Could be interesting. Might be a bit early for that. Not too sure. Got pans, engines, more wings. Procedural wings. Could be useful and fun to play with. More landing legs. More RCS, including an anchor. More command pods. That could be helpful. Oh, and we get the Lunar Excursion module. Right. We get the huge supply container. That's a new one. And the huge pressurized tank. Ooh, they're new ones from Kerbalism. I don't remember seeing them before. Okay. That could be interesting. That would add lots and lots of storage for food and water. More rocket part. Are they in 2 places? Aren't they in 2? Yeah, they're there as well. That's odd. Well, I was expecting some bugs to happen with this because extraplanetary launch pads isn't apparently compatible with 1.4.3, which is what I'm running here. So yeah, I might have to have a look whether there is a version of that available. Not through CCAN. New batteries and the electric screwdriver, that would be useful as well. And what's this? Hydroponics. The greenhouse. Right, so one more to unlock. I think I'm going to go for this. I think I'm going to go for the modules. Yeah, I think we'll go for that because that gives us the opportunity to build some bigger spacecraft to do things. So we'll do that. There we go, and we'll unlock all them as well. There we go. Also, I think I'm opening. Yes, now our Kerbals can collect surface samples. So that means we need to go back to the moon. We need to land on Minmus. And also, we need to go and pick up some dirt right here. So, I think I'll do this off camera because obviously there's a surface sample, I think, at each place again, which is a bit much. But yeah, I'll do that off camera, and then we'll have a look at the moon or Minmus again. And after going round the KSC and picking up surface samples from everywhere, we've got a nice bit of science with that. But it's time to head to Minmus. That's what this craft is doing. It's a little more complicated than just a standard one because I wanted to try the whole leave a stage in orbit, go down to land on Minmus, come back up again, dock with that stage, and then come home. Yeah, like the Apollo style things with it. A little bit more complicated, but yeah. We also have a contract to rescue a Kerbal in orbit of Minmus and to place a satellite in polar orbit of Minmus. So I'm trying to kill 3 birds with 1 stone. And I'm really hoping I'm not overstepping my mark here because it's a lot to do in one go, and I should have probably looked at all the orbits of the things first because they're not exactly where I was hoping they'd be. So we are on our way to Minmus, and it's time to deploy the craft here before our batteries drop dead. Here we are. Looks a little unorthodox, but don't worry about that. Basically, this is going to take us to Minmus. and then I'm going to deploy the satellite, undock this from here. We have a small docking port on the top here. I'm going to undock that and dock it to the end there, and then this fuel tank can be used by this engine for the return trip home. That's the idea. I did think this stage would take us to Minmus, and it has got us there. You can see we're going to end up there, just in line with the guy we have to rescue. But he's 28 meters a second to do the second burn we need, and I've got 39, so not really going to stop us once we get there. I'm going to have to be deploying that satellite at a very weird angle, and hoping it's got enough fuel to get itself into a polar orbit. I'm not really sure about that one, but yeah, we'll see. But anyway, let's go to our next maneuver. And do this one. We do only have 2 people with us. We've got Valentina and Bill. You can have 2 people in this pod here, with the idea of 3 people being returned back to Kerbin, which will be with our rescue guy. What's his name? Merming the Kerbal, yes. Could of course just allow fuel through to use this engine with this stage here, but I think dumping it would be better. Jump forward in time a bit here. Right, the engine gently. And that will do. That will do, I think. Yep, that'll do. That looks good enough to me. And we can put ourselves in some form of orbit and figure out how to get Merming first. Then put our satellite in orbit, and then switch the craft around, do its transformer bits, and yeah. Okay, so let's go over to Minmus. And it is transformer time. Right, we're in we're in Minmus's sphere of influence. Let's set Mermin as our target. I'm going to fire off the rest of the engine now. It's only a tiny amount, so boom, there we go. That slows us down a little tiny bit, and then we can deploy this one. Let me make sure my staging is correct. Yes, so that can go. Very well. Okay. So the next one we need to deploy is center one and the top one. I think I want to do the top one first. So that can go. Signal lost with Minmus lander. Ah, yes, it has no control. Can I? I can't transfer crew yet. Ah, yes, I can. Transfer to who are you? Sorry. Transfer to there, so we've got some form of control with it. That's all. We won't have SAS, but we have some form of control. That's the important part. Okay. You can do your thing in a moment. Right now, we need to detach that. Okay. Then we want to. We can't. Ah, oh dear. Okay. So, stop. We need to rotate this around. This needs to point retrograde, I believe. We might knock that out of the way. That's okay. That's not a problem. This needs to turn around. This has no SAS, and this is the one that's going to be doing the docking. So, yeah, this will be interesting. Okay. Forward, forward. Knock that out of the way. Just bump it or something. Bump. There we go. Hopefully, we will end up roughly where we need to be. Oh, and the magnets do the job. There we go. Awesome. Exactly what I wanted. Excellent. Well done. Okay. Okay, so I want to control from here, just to make sure that prograde is in fact prograde. The engine's on that end there. Which means we want to face retrograde, which means rotating all the way around. Not a problem. We have got a reaction wheel there, because that doesn't have a reaction wheel in it, and I've fallen prey to that before, so yeah. And I have noticed the fuel, the flow priority doesn't affect food and water and things like that. So this is set higher than that one, or lower than that one, but they're still taking the food and water. Yeah, so yeah, that is a little annoying because obviously I can't transfer resources. Oh, yes I can. I don't know when I was able to do that, but that's good. And we'll put more oxygen in there. Not that it matters, we got plenty of stuff for this. It's fine. It's fine. So let's set our target. Let's maneuver here to slow us down. Whoa. And let's see where we will be once we arrive at the destination. That is good. But we will be miles away from him. Miles and miles away from him. So what if we came in a little bit? Of course, that's not in line with him, is it? So, realistically, I need to fire... I need to fire up, get that. Right. Activate the engine. There we go, because we've got all these things on here which really don't want to be staging and stuff. Ah, yes, and turn on the fuel. So, enable cross. Ah, this one here. Enable crossfeed. There we go. There we go. Right. So point normal by the engine. About there. Okay. Then when we slow down now, whoa, that's really fast. That fast, wow. Okay. Do. Okay, there we are in almost a perfect orbit with him. So let's have a look, see here. If I bring this down, now if I bring it up, there's no point in doing it that way. Let's bring it up. Like that. Is that good? That looks good to me. There we go. Right, so we will do that maneuver. That will slow us down to one orbit. We'll go round, and then when we come back down again, we will be 0.5 kilometers, 500 meters away from them. We've got 6 minutes of Delta V on this. 1,400. Really good for Delta V. And that's not including anything that's in there or in the pod. They're turned off. So if things go terribly wrong, I've still got spare fuel. And they do have plenty of oxygen and things like that, so that's all good. So we will go round and meet Merming and rescue Merming, but we will do that all in the next episode. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it on. Hope to see you again next time. And until then, as always, have fun.